Oh yeah, that's another fucking bench I could have slept on if I was unable to find anything else. I guess I can ask you about Ruby before I go on a search for that mural. I think we've got time. Here we go.
The waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards. Simmer down, bastards.
Why does she care about the waves so much? What is it with you and the waves? What is it with the waves and the fishermen? She tilts her head and looks at the sea. We need to be out there with them, fishing, making a living. So I ask him to accommodate me. But until that happens, I can try to assist you the best I can, she adds with a smile. So what'll it be, officer? I'm looking for someone else, actually. I'm looking for a suspect who might have stayed in this neighborhood. Okay, when did this person stay here? Very recently. Over the past few days. She might have arrived on a Friday. Oh, she looks slightly disappointed. I've been out on the sea for most of the past week. The weather's been good for fishing, so I usually start at 4 in the morning. Really? Yeah, that's the optimal time. Got to make the most of the calm. I've been sleeping like a corpse after. The sea really takes a toll. Now I'm just waiting for the wind to settle and so I can get out there again. Sorry I couldn't help you out. A faint smile runs across her face. Maybe I can help you find someone else. Yeah, because that's such a normal thing to ask. Is anyone else perpetually missing? There we go. Ah, clean out the rooms. Complete. This is the one we got for... What if you didn't lose your memory? What if something in Martinez came and stored it all away? For you to slowly open one box at a time so you can choose which parts to keep. Keep almost none of it. Only the flowers on the windowsill. Only the distant sounds of the radio. Lose all the actors, the dark shadows. Leave only the still lifes. The blissful distant wash of waves. If everybody knew, you never did. Should be coming soon. That is all. +1 suggestion, +1 inland empire, and +1 rhetoric. Wake up in a new life by the seaside. Beautiful! That's a really good one. Alright. Who the hell are you? You're new? Have I ever seen you before?
I'll just
Joyce!
put the cord in the channel if that's okay. It's too shallow near the pier.
She winds the mooring line around a post.
Hi, ma'am. And it's a jetty, by the way. Of course, jetty. I prefer a good jetty to appear any day. Jetty.
Fantastic. Something about the way she says it makes you want to sing. Jetty, jetty.
Oh, jetty.
She responds mournfully.
It's good to see you here, detectives. I only just arrived myself.
I noticed.
What brings you here, madame?
Nothing, really. I've had my eye on this jetty for weeks now. So I decided to investigate it personally. This cluster of buildings isn't on any of the official maps, as far as I can tell.
That, and she's also keeping an eye on you. Huh. So how do you like it, dear?
How do I like it?
She casts her gaze toward the village. Slush melting on the cinder blocks. Construction work left half finished 10 years ago. Water drips down eaves of eternite. The jetty below her feet creaks to the tune.
It's pornographically poor. The street has no name. All the men are dead or missing. And is that the carcass of a motor carriage over there?
Don't pay attention to that one. Not me.
I'm surprised that woman hasn't put me to the sword yet. Maybe she will. You should ask your questions while you can.
Actually, I'm the one with the sword now, as you can see. Dark eyes survey the coast leading up to Martinez. Dull grey metal rests in her scabbard. I've got it! A sword. The wind is too loud for her to hear.
Fortunately for you, madame. The RCM is on the scene.
Alright. Politics time. Oh, politics time. Let's react. Real men, real politics, real thoughts in your head. You're right to be scared this is all your fault? No, it's not. You're in no danger. The working class have no idea what's happening to them. Well, try not to be scared. This is just how the real city looks. Don't worry. I got her sword. Show it. There we go. Perhaps you shouldn't have. I sort of liked it on her. She leans against the railing, looking up at the grey sky. Above you, there forms a quilt of also cumulus clouds, thank you, Shivers, twisting into each other. The wind tugs and stretches them all over the bay. The cloud shadows slide over the ruins of Revachol West. Wherever they pass, the temperature drops slightly, but perceptibly. It's early spring and the rains are coming. An officer enters a low hut of stone and wood. Inside, weapons are piled against the walls. Rifles with splintering stocks and swords Tens, if not hundreds. They're antiques, says Lieutenant John, the archetype McCoy, to his partner. They're digging them up from the catacombs now. Fixing them. Old cachets from the Revolution. Children will carry them up come May. Streets will be flooded. Outside, the wind rattles the loose hatches, flooded with cheap weapons in angry hands. Have I told you how they discovered this place? The wind picks up, a raincoat flaps in the gust. This fishing village? No, the Insulindian Isola. No, you haven't told me how they found it. Well, your condition has left you no worse off than most of these people. The literacy rate is around 45% west of the river. 50 years of occupation have left these people in an oblivion of poverty. 45% is around where I operate. Things are getting better, though. Oblivion. That's so me. I knew you would sympathize, she nods. Most Revacholians will never know what this place means. Our home. This island of matter. Or why they were ferried over in the first place. Remind me to tell you one day. She corrects the scarf around her neck. For now, how can I assist you in this new location? Tell me now. We have time. Do we? He glances at his watch. Doesn't look like he does. I hear you have singled out a suspect or an in pursuit. This is cause for cautious optimism. I would not want to delay you. This story she will tell it only before she leaves Martinez, at the very end of her stay. Maybe there is something else I can assist you with, while you're hot in pursuit? Found my badge, by the way. I love you did. She inspects the piece of blue plastic, her eyes scanning from left to right. She's memorizing your badge number. She hands it back to you. Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant W. Fredia Dubois. I am glad to see a man of high qualification. The situation is precarious. Seaweed drips from the badge in your hand. It smells of fish. What can I help you with, Lieutenant Fredia? For now, nothing. Unless we got more about reality. I think we're a king of reality at this point. Talk about the lynching. No. I've been dealing with Everard again. Aha! He's not even asking you anything. It's so easy to just say. Ma'am, this whole thing is a takeover. A takeover? Yes, it's not a strike. You aren't being let in because there's nothing to negotiate. The Union is taking the terminal. If they're taking it... She looked toward the colourful mountain of crates, like toy blocks rising above Martinez. Like a cancer of the blood, metastasizing. Then we're talking about a war. Efront needs to let me into the harbour at once. We need to talk about this! He's ready for a war. They all are. They most certainly are not! Her eyes return to you. Krennel has thousands of men on their payroll. The next batch will be a platoon of 20 men in a gunship. I've seen the Union's forces. Better organized than these mercenaries. They also have the support of the people of Revachol West. It will take more than Krennel to wipe them out. Wild Pines will need to send more and better equipped men. Make no mistake, man. I'm sure you have the money. The question is, how many years and how many lives are you willing to sacrifice? What do you suggest I do? First, will this affect your decision-making process? Everything affects the decision-making process, Detective. Officer, look on Kim's face. It conveys uncertainty. He doesn't even sound angry. For once, I don't seem to know what the right thing to do is. I wish there was a disco option. She's a better person than Everard, but her ideologies aren't necessarily better. But Everard doesn't put his ideologies into practice because he's too busy being corrupt. He's not a real socialist. He's being a prick. He's doing nasty things. He's making people's lives worse, making some people's lives better, but they tend to be the higher up working class, like he was, not helping out the absolute bottom of the fucking barrel. He's a monster. Her ideology isn't too great, but she's a far better person and has good things at heart. The correct option would be to cut off the snake's head. But I don't want to be a cop that incites murder. I wish there was a disco option. I'm afraid we won't disco our way out of this one, she says with considerable regret. Cut off the snake's head. Everard's pushing all of this. Like the previous leader of the Union were assassinated? I suspect by Everard and Edgar themselves. She considers it. I admit there's some poetry in the idea. And I like poetry. And like poetry, it's also useless. There would still be Edgar. They've factored it in. The Union is them, and they are Martinez. So what are you going to do? What will I do? She says, slowly looking around. The wind blows. Waves crash in the distance. She crosses her arms and asks, did I ever tell you how they discovered this Isola? During our reality lowdown? You said you would. One day. It may be the only break we've ever caught as a species. The last one for 400 years. Why? The nations who colonized this Isola called theirs Mundi. The world. It was all they knew. And they thought would be. That there would be something more was a gamble. Akin to another world or life after death. The Pale was thought to be impregnable. Perpetual. She points to the northwest. Irene the Navigateur, the Queen of Suresne, sent 8 expeditions, one after the other, into the mass at the end of the world. 5 of the crews did not return. 2 did, but had lost their minds. Each of those expeditions would have been led by an admiral. Sounds like a purge, like she was purging political rivals. Sounds political. She nods. There was no precedent for taking such an undertaking. Taking such an undertaking. People thought she was punishing the admirals, or had gone mad, or both. Until after years of trial and error, and the development of a strict psychological regime imitating the creation process of poetry. Called Volta du Mar, or Return from the Sea. I don't even know what to think about this, man. The 8th expedition returned, sane and intact. They told of a new continent of matter. They told the Queen and her counselor, Dolores Day, that the Pale had begun to condense day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute, slowly raining down until it formed a vast ocean. There are rain circles on the water all around. Humidity crawls up your back like a piano trill. Put your hand in the rain. So does the lieutenant. His mouth is slightly open as he looks to the sky. The droplets feel warm, like spring rain. This ocean? She nods. The phenomenon has never again been encountered. For a time, the crew, though they were experiencing a hallucination, the mast hand proclaimed, Leon Cylinder! The signal to wake up. But they could not. They were sane and conscious. As islands began to appear on the horizon, there are 78,000 uninhabited islands on the Insulindian archipelago, officer. The freckled face of God, she smiles. You've thought it 1,000,000 times. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the Pale. After the Pale, the world again. A total shift, she nods, in human comprehension of reality. On the 2nd day, a great skua was shot down. Of the flagship, Lysergic. The bird was preserved and brought back, along with pollen. The Insulindian miracle, huh? 4 years later, the Queen's Counselor was proclaimed her innocence, Dolores Day. The elected world spirit. The age of humanism, internationalism, and parliamentary rule followed. We were high, leaving us here. On Kailu, she studies your reaction. The Pebble. The largest of the fertile, uninhabited islands of the northeast Insulindian archipelago. 4 centuries and 2 revolutions later, the great skua was the first bird they saw. The first living, autonomous organism. Proof of reality. It's the symbol of Insulinda, detective. The coat of arms of the suzerain. And the wings on the crest of the commune. I seem to have it in for it. Or it for me. I broke one. In your defense, it was a nasty creature. It plucks food from the throats of lesser birds, yet much like Revachol, it is also magnificent and rare. Imagine the suzerain of seagulls. There was a sting in your heart at the mention before, when she said its name. And this was the last break we got. The nations of Mundi proceeded to discover 5 more Isolae, or they discovered us, all in the rush of the great inter-isolary reconnection. But these others weren't inhabited. We had to kill people there. Wipe out indigenous populations, gunboat economies. Or they came to do the same for us, or had done to each other. But here, she spreads her arms, there was no one but the Skua, the Liliaceae, and the Blood Beach, and the River Esperance. It was the new world. The Mondials used it to amass the greatest concentration of wealth mankind has ever seen. Revachol, the suzerain. What happened? Revolution, poverty, and the mercurial rise of capitalism. She nods. It's raining. It is. She pulls the hood over her head. Soon it will be spring and everything will blossom. The gangs will run wild. Lieutenant keeps his hand in the rain, jacking motor carriages, ferrying amphetamines through Coal City. Spring is tough in Revachol. What will you do? I will take your advice, Lieutenant Euphradia. I will surrender Terminal B to the Union. I don't think I told you to do that. Is that within your means? She puts her hand in the rain. She's silent for a second. We will see. It is. It is well within her authority. It's been clear for some time that this woman is more than she lets on. Ma'am, this may well unravel property law this side of the river. If that occurs, we may never see the end of this kind of confrontation. The next time, there will be 2 strikes. He looks toward the harbor. Then 4. Then 100. What happens will happen. She takes the end in her rain-slick hand and starts untying the knot. The age of the capital has just begun. I will talk to my employers in person. We will amputate and cauterize Martinez. If you know the situation on the ground. She generally avoids that term with her employers. There are no employers. She's a member of the board, probably a partner. You are the Wild Pines. There are no employers. She turns to you, rope in hand. You are the citizens' militia. There are no superiors. What? Of course I have superiors. That's right, detective. And next time you should confer with them before you go setting events in motion. Despite his words, he's not really sure whether to be annoyed with you or not. Events are already in motion. Whether your actions accelerated or momentarily retarded their progress, even the lieutenant cannot really say. Even after all this time, I still don't really understand who you are or what your angle is. I have not deceived you. I told you exactly who I was. Rejoice Layton. You're going now? Yes. Mr. Clare has a 2-month head start. I can't let it grow any bigger. I've exhausted all my options here. Understood. You were one of my favorites. You were absolutely awesome, and you were so memorable. You will go down as one of my favorite of all of Revachol. Kind of heart-wrenching that you're leaving, lady. Understood.
Keep the peace, and I will keep my end of the bargain.
How far along is Prunell's investigation?
A confrontation is imminent. They have followed in your footsteps. As your investigation reaches a climax, so does theirs. They are your shadow. Arm yourselves. Armor yourselves. Protect their targets. Violence may be unavoidable, but we can limit the casualties.
When will they make their move? Where?
Soon. I do not know precisely. They have cut off all communication, you see. They know I've been feeding you information.
Fuck.
One last thing, Lieutenant Dubois. I've given the matter much thought and come to this conclusion. You're not an amnesiac. You're insane.
I'll take that.
I know, because I too am insane. I just hide my illness better. And I'm rich.
Isn't everybody a little insane?
No, Detective. No one's as insane as you.
I'll take that.
Don't worry, madame. I am very sane.
You're over-radiated.
I'm overexposed, baby. My travels take me through the Pale dozens of times a year. I've got the longing, and I've got it bad.
She points to her heart. She would die to return to it. The Pale, the past, anything one can return to. How do you keep it together?
The same strict psychological regimen the 8th Admiral developed when he crossed the Pale and discovered this isola, the Volta de Mar. It's used by inter-isolary travelers and other troubled souls even to this day.
You could use a little of it yourself. Goodbye, nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp. No. Goodbye, Rejoice Layton.
Watch out for yourselves. They will strike soon.
Man, I found a solution? Holy shit, that was a secret task! The lieutenant watches her boat grow smaller on the bay, its white sails fluttering. With worry in his eyes, He does not know if it was the right thing to do, but he doesn't say anything. You do wonder what Everard has to say about this. We'll go find him soon. The Insulindian miracle, huh? You were reminded of a poem, somewhere deep inside you. The translation of which you don't remember. Nulla sarà cambiato della luce, it begins. Corolori, cum grigio e marrone, tutti stampati uno sull'altro. Trovai un vuoto, una macchia bianca. Gli altri guardarono. Che bella giornata, che bel tempo. Ma senti la rotativa. You were reminded of it when you heard about the discovery of Insulinda. What does it mean? How do you know this by heart? Is this something I should be internalizing? I think I'll leave it for now, as there is a very big chance that it's just going to make us even sadder. So, guys, don't worry, I've remembered about the Feld thing, but that is where I'm going to have to leave it for today, because I went well over my normal sort of cutting off time. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please do like, subscribe, share, comments with that amazing stuff. It really does help out both me and the channel. And in the next one, my god, it looks like we might finally unravel all this mess. Thank you guys so much for watching. But for now, this is Strike signing off. Goodbye! Mwah.